The content in this video is for general educational use. It does not represent political opinions or judgments about any country, culture, or government. Information is based on publicly available sources and may be summarized or simplified. Viewers should verify details through multiple sources.
You know, most countries, they tend to focus on one big goal at a time. Maybe it's economic growth, or a green revolution, or maybe a huge digital leap. But what if a country tried to do all three at the same time? Well, that's exactly what's happening in Malaysia, and honestly, it's one of the most ambitious national projects going on in Asia right now.
It really comes down to this one big question, right? How does a nation prepare for what's next? Some chase explosive economic growth. Others pour everything they have into becoming a tech powerhouse. But Malaysia, well, they're taking a different road, a much more complex one.
The country is basically orchestrating a massive, simultaneous pivot on three different fronts. It's a really high-stakes strategy, all designed to build a future that's not just wealthy, but also green and fair for its people. So what does this grand ambition actually look like in practice? Okay, first up, Malaysia's grand ambition. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of how they're doing this, we need to understand the what. What is the big picture vision that's driving this huge national effort? So if you dig into the country's official plans, three core goals really jump out. First, there's a major environmental target, hitting net zero emissions by 2050. Second, a big economic goal, using technology to become a high-income nation. And third, and this is the part that really ties it all together, is the social goal, making absolutely sure this new prosperity is shared fairly by everyone. And this is what they're calling the triple transition. It's this coordinated push toward a future that is green, digital, and human-centric. Three completely distinct goals, all being chased down at the same time. It is a massive, massive undertaking. Okay, but grand plans are one thing, right? What does all this actually look like on the ground? Let's start with that first pillar, the green transition. And to see this in action, we're going to zoom in on the city of Cyberjaya. Now, it was originally set up as a tech hub, but now it's being totally reimagined as a kind of blueprint for sustainable, modern city living. The goal for Cyberjaya is crystal clear. Turn it into a smart city that dramatically cuts its carbon footprint. And that means rethinking everything, from how people get around to the very buildings they live and work in. A huge part of the strategy is something called transit-oriented development, or TOD. The basic idea is to design communities around public transport, not around cars. So by building dense, walkable neighborhoods right near train stations, you make it super easy to live, work, and shop without ever needing to drive. That right there can drastically cut a city's carbon footprint. But it's not just about transit, it's also about the buildings themselves. Sustainable architecture is absolutely key. Things like sky gardens and green roofs, they aren't just there to look nice. They actually help cool buildings naturally, which cuts down on that massive energy drain from air conditioning. And finally, for all those shorter trips, they're building out a whole cycling network. By providing safe, convenient bike lanes, cycling becomes a real, healthy alternative to driving. It's a pretty simple idea, but it's an incredibly effective piece of the whole low-carbon puzzle. Now, happening at the exact same time as this green shift is the digital one. And right at the heart of it, Malaysia is betting big on one of the most critical industries on the entire planet, semiconductors. You know, the little brains behind all of our modern tech? Let's just start with this number, because it really tells you the scale of their ambition. The country's semiconductor market is projected to skyrocket to over $16 billion by 2030. This isn't some side project, it's a central pillar of their entire future economy. So why the huge push right now? Well, a lot of it comes down to geopolitics. As global companies start to rebalance their supply chains away from China, they're looking for stable, reliable partners. And with half a century of experience in this field, Malaysia is a natural fit. It's attracting investment not just for the basics, but for the really complex, high-value work of assembling and packaging the world's most advanced chips. But here's the single biggest challenge. This is the critical bottleneck: talent. The industry needs something like 50,000 engineers every single year, but the universities are currently graduating only about 5,000. I mean, that gap is just massive, and it's the #1 thing holding back how fast Malaysia can grow in this space. Building the hardware, though, is only half the battle. What about the software that runs on it?
As semiconductors get more and more powerful, they're fueling the rise of artificial intelligence. And that means Malaysia's digital growth has to come with strong AI governance, basically the ethical rules of the road, to make sure this incredibly powerful technology is used safely and responsibly. And that brings us to the third and, maybe the most important pillar of all, the human transition. Because let's be honest, a green and digital future doesn't mean a thing if people get left behind. This quote here from a study on AI literacy for older adults, it really gets to the heart of the issue. Digital inclusion isn't just about giving people access to tech, it's about understanding how different groups actually learn. For older adults, it turns out that hands-on, practical training is the key to building the confidence they need to navigate this fast-changing world.
Then you have younger people, especially those from what's called the B40. That's the bottom 40% income group. For them, the focus is on creating a really clear pathway into the new economy. And research shows it's not just about teaching them how to code. The programs that really work also build soft skills, provide motivation, and offer structured, practical training. And all of these initiatives are part of a really crucial guiding principle, what's called a just transition. The idea is powerful. As the economy changes, we have a responsibility to support people whose jobs might be affected and to make sure the new opportunities are open to everyone. Simply put, it's about making sure progress doesn't leave people in the dust. So we've seen the three distinct threads of Malaysia's huge ambition. We've got the green transition, the digital one, and the human-centric one. All right, let's pull it all together. So, to quickly recap the three threads, the green transition is all about building a sustainable nation, from green cities to clean energy. The digital transition is about locking in economic prosperity by becoming a key player in the global tech race. And the human transition? Well, that's the social foundation for everything, making sure every single citizen has the skills and the support to thrive. And this really is the ultimate question. Juggling one major national transformation is hard enough. But successfully managing three of them at the same time, that requires an incredible amount of coordination, investment, and political will. The vision is definitely bold, the plan is in motion, and the outcome is going to shape the nation for decades to come.